As much as I love challenging myself by trying new techniques or suppliers, or trying to make my artwork look better than any other piece I've done before, some days that's just not a realistic goal. Between my chronic illnesses and mental health, I have days where I really want to draw, but I physically or mentally don't have the energy to create a masterpiece, and that's totally okay. Not every piece you create has to be amazing. You're allowed to draw because you enjoy the process. The whole reason that we started drawing or painting was because we had fun doing it, so putting a lot of pressure on yourself to try a new technique or choose a challenging subject or just create a really large piece of artwork isn't always necessary. We have to take a step back and remember that we create artwork because we enjoy the process. It relaxes us or it helps us with our mental health. When I'm having a bad day but I still want to be creative, sometimes I simply just get a pen and a paper and draw scribbles or shade in circles or do swatches of some of my new supplies, or even just colour in an adult colouring book. If you're feeling a little bit better but not fully up to creating a large project, you could just practice in your sketchbook or on a piece of paper, knowing that you're not going to be showing the rest of the world what you create. You can keep your sketchbook drawings to yourself and just play around with your supplies, or look up some prompts online and draw some smaller things using just one graphite pencil or a pen or a single coloured pencil. If I'm feeling up to creating a bigger project, but I still don't feel like I could create my best work ever, I try and choose a medium that I'm comfortable with and that doesn't require me to set up a lot of different supplies. If you take acrylic paint, for example, you may need to set up a clean area, set up a palette, get some water to rinse your brushes in, find the paint that you want to use, open some windows so that the fumes aren't too much, maybe lock the cat in another room so their fur doesn't stick to your painting, and maybe even change your clothes so that you don't get paint on the ones that you're wearing. And then once you do get started, you may have to wait for your paint layers to dry or dry them with a hairdryer, and you're probably going to want to do a lot of layers in acrylic paint, which will take quite a lot of time. And then once you've finished for the day, you'll need to clean up everything, wash all your brushes, put everything away, and then potentially set it all up again the next day if you want to continue with the painting. And I don't know about you, but for me, this whole process can be so exhausting when I'm having a bad day, and it will stop me from creating artwork altogether because there are just too many steps and too much thinking involved. Whereas if I choose something like charcoal pencils, all I'll need to do is grab a couple of pencils, maybe a blending tool, and a piece of paper, and then just find a reference photo on my phone that I like the look of. This will mean that I can get started sooner while I still have motivation to start something, and I'm not going to overthink the process because the supplies that I'm using are familiar and they're easy to work with. I drew this deer using charcoal, which is a great choice because I'm not going to have to make any decisions when it comes to colour. I'm just going to focus on the values and that's all. I even made it easier for myself by choosing a toned paper that will act as a nice background colour without me having to add a background as well. It will also allow me to have a basic mid-tone value so that I can use my charcoal for the shadows and a white charcoal for the highlights. I chose this reference photo because I knew that it would be an easy subject for me, so I'd recommend choosing a subject that you enjoy drawing, that you've drawn in the past, or that you find easy to draw, so that you don't have to worry about challenging yourself with a brand new subject. Even if you've drawn 10 tigers in the past and you really want to draw another tiger, then go for it. There are plenty of reference photos online for you to choose from, and you can choose a totally new photo to work from, but you can still have the familiarity of working on a subject that you've drawn in the past. I also chose to draw this on a smaller piece of paper so that I wouldn't have to add as many details in the fur. The bigger your drawing is, the more visible your details are going to be in comparison, so by drawing a little bit smaller, I can add some fur texture without having to add a lot of tiny details. I can just concentrate on the values and proportions instead of those details, which is one less thing to worry about. For this drawing in particular, I'm following a very simple method, which is taking a medium shade of charcoal, blocking in the darker areas with this, and then going back through and using a darker shade of charcoal to add even more depth to the shadows. And then I went back through with a white charcoal pencil to add some of those highlights. So it really was a simple process for me to complete this piece. Challenging yourself by trying new supplies, choosing a brand new subject you've never drawn before, drawing something larger than you've done before, using new techniques, or trying to create your best drawing ever are all really great goals to have as an artist. Overcoming these kinds of challenges will help you grow and become a better artist, but you don't have to put that much pressure on yourself every time you create a drawing or painting. You're allowed to just relax and enjoy the process of creating art, and sometimes I need to remind myself that it's okay to draw something and not share it with the world, or even just go back to drawing some scribbles on a piece of paper just to start being creative. So I thought that this video would be a good reminder to some of you to remember why you started creating artwork in the first place, and just remember to enjoy the process as you go along. If you've had a break from art, sometimes getting back into drawing again can feel really overwhelming. So I've created a video where I go through some tips that I used after I had a long break from art to help me get back into drawing again. So click on that and I'll see you over there.